Cardinals traveling to Green Bay for this one to take on the Green Bay Packers. You just kind of finished up your point about plus factor, so I can start this one with my matchup that matters. I think it's the Cardinals offensive line versus the Packers pass rush. And this is kind of a boring one, but it's more of the Cardinals offensive line has been doing a pretty good job blocking so far this season. They're 12th in pass blocking grade as a team, and they're 11th in total pressures allowed. And when I say 11th, I mean 11th fewest. So they're almost top 10 in mitigating pressures allowed. So it's a group that is top 12 in both of those categories. And they're going up against a Green Bay Packers pass rush that has really struggled this season. And my matchup that matters is sort of, hey, if the Cardinals do what is expected here, then I think that they probably win this game. If nothing changes with the Packers pass rush, if it is more of the same of what we have seen over the last 5 weeks, I think the Cardinals will win this football game because I think Kyler Murray's too good and he's playing well, and we've already seen the ceiling from him 5 weeks into the year. So I think the Cardinals win that if that's the case. But if the Packers have their best game yet, getting after the passer, pressuring Kyler Murray, even a guy who has a lot of escapability like he does, well, then we've got an even ball game, and that even might be what sways this in the Packers' direction. But when you look at the Packers' pass rush right now, 59.8 pass rush grade, it's just 25th in the NFL. 32.8 pass rush win percentage, also 25th in the NFL. 63 total pressures, that's just 21st. And then Rashawn Gary, the guy who is supposed to be leading them in all of these categories, is on pace for career lows in pass rush grade, pass rush win percentage, pressures, and sacks. It is not good enough right now in Green Bay up front. And if they can't figure it out and the Cardinals continue to play well in this one, like I said, I'm giving the edge to the Cardinals. But if it's the best version of the Packers pass rush we've seen yet this season, okay, now we're talking about a dogfight probably till the very end, in my opinion. So that to me is the matchup that matters. But what about you?
Well, I'm going to go actually then to my plus factor because my plus factor, in fact, was the Green Bay defensive line and seeing if they can get pressure up front. They can overwhelm this Cardinals offensive line. I mean, this is kind of where you're seeing the change in scheme matter for Green Bay. In Jeff Hafley's scheme, he introduced a 4-3 defense to Green Bay for the first time in 15 years. And that means less than it ever has, given how fluid defensive schemes are these days and how much teams spend in their nickel package. They don't really spend as much time in base as they used to. But when it matters is, all right, this is the personnel you have to work with. And is Rashawn Gary really a 4-3 defensive end? No, he's probably better in a 3-4 situation where he's more of an outside backer. And that's why I think you're seeing this lull in pressure up front, is because they just haven't exactly figured out how to get pressure with 4. That is, to me, the biggest sway for this Green Bay defense in general, because, again, they've been really good at taking the ball away, but you can help that even further if you get to the quarterback or you force some panic throws, errant throws, stuff like that. You can create more opportunities for your back level in particular. And that leads into kind of my matchup that matters here, which is Xavier McKinney versus Kyler Murray in particular. Xavier McKinney has been this Packers defense and has been the reason that this Packers defense has been successful. You see, he's leading the league in overall grade, 90.8, 5 interceptions. He has had an interception in every game that he is a Packer. And actually, hat tip to Kay Adams here, he has 6 interceptions in his last 6 games going back to last season, which ties the NFL record. And if he gets another interception against Kyler Murray, he will then break it and be in sole possession of the NFL record for most consecutive games with an interception. That is an incredible tear that he is on. That is why you go out and you pay a ton of money for a safety like Xavier McKinney. But at this point, he is the reason that your defense is successful because you have the most takeaways in the league, 8 of the 12 are interceptions. And then when you consider 5 of those 8 are Xavier McKinney alone, it's why, you're able to limit points, you're able to limit possessions, you're able to kind of give the ball back to your offense, which should be getting back up to speed with Jordan Love back in the lineup. I want to see this happen for Xavier McKinney because he's just been such an incredible player for them. But the defensive line can really work in his favor and help him out there, which is why they're my plus factor. But I really want to see what Xavier McKinney can do against Kyler Murray.
our do it all everything person here at PFF, Dave Salfaro, who was also an elite researcher, while you were saying that, he's watching the show and he just messaged me to remind me Xavier McKinney has more interceptions than 25 NFL teams do right now. That's what we're talking about here. That's the dominance. Dalton Wasserman, when we do the PFF grades release show, he said this week once again, he was like, this is why this was my favorite free agency signing of anybody. Now, I think everybody kind of liked the Xavier McKinney signing when he went to the Packers, because we figured that it would line up well with the Jeff Hafley defense and what he wanted to do and how important that was going to be. But holy cow, this is, I mean, even the Packers could not have expected that this is the very best of the very best of the return that you were getting for a player that was obviously very coveted when he was going through free agency. My plus factor in this one, I'll say the obvious one here. I'll get to the duh. It is Jordan Love. You look at Jordan Love, and it's been a massive roller coaster since he has come back from injury, right? He's got 613 passing yards in the NFL, which is fifth most. So he's top 5 over the last 2 weeks. But he also has 4 turnover-worthy plays, which are tied for the fifth most. So he is top 5 in a category that you love. All right, potent offense, pushing the ball deep down the field, getting those passing yards. But he's also top 5 when putting the ball in harm's way. And so it feels a little bit like the first half of last year for Jordan Love, where there was just a lot of good and a lot of things that you wish were better. And then the second half of the season, really week 10 on, he was an elite quarterback consistently. And I think obviously, the knee's getting a little bit healthier. He's trusting that. But of course, even beyond the trench battle that I talked about with the Cardinals offensive line and the Packers defensive line, how Jordan Love plays in this game could mean the world, because it's a difference of how potent this team is going to be. And we saw, even after the Vikings got a really big lead the last time that they were in Green Bay, how they were able to storm back, and they were able to do that because Love gives them the ability to do that. So I think that he to me has to be the true definition of a plus factor here in this game.